The Roaring Twenties were filled with significant events that changed America. This all started in 1918 with the end of World War I. In 1920, the United States Census reports for the first time that more Americans live in urban areas than in rural areas. The 19th Amendment is ratified, and this grants women the right to vote. The 18th Amendment of Prohibition is also passed, but many people didn't follow the prohibition. Warren G. Harding is elected to presidency in 1920. In 1921, Congress passes immigration restrictions for the first time, and this creates a quota for European immigration to the United States. Congress passes an act that sharply raises tariff duties to protect the American market for American manufacturers. This tariff boost is what sparks the economy of the Roaring Twenties. In 1922, commercial radio broadcasting to the public begins. In 1923, President Warren G. Harding dies of a stroke, and Vice President Calvin Coolidge ascends to presidency. In 1924, the U.S. Department of Commerce establishes the name of rayon. And in 1924 is also the founding of the Surrealist movement. In 1925, F. Scott Fitzgerald publishes The Great Gatsby, and a Tennessee school teacher is arrested for teaching evolution in violation of the new state law banning the teaching of Darwin. In 1927, Al Jolson's The Jazz Singer is the first talking motion picture, and this premieres, marking the end of the silent film era. In 1928, Walt Disney's Steamboat Willie premieres, and this introduces to the world a new animated character called Mickey Mouse. In 1929, the American stock market collapses, and this signals the onset of the Great Depression and the end of the Roaring Twenties. The 20s is filled with artistic movements. One of the movements is the Jazz Age. Jazz originated in New Orleans as a fusion of African and European music. This music brought culture changes, as there was more of a merging of cultures between African Americans and Caucasians. Jazz music also brought along the Charleston dance and the flappers. Another movement is the Harlem Renaissance. It was a cultural, social, and artistic explosion that took place in Harlem. During this period, Harlem was a cultural center that brought in Black writers, artists, musicians, photographers, poets, and scholars. One of the last movements was Art Deco, a decorative art style characterized by precise and boldly geometric shapes and strong colors, mostly used in fashion, home decor, and architecture.
Some influential designers from the 20s are Elsa Schiaparelli, who is known for her linen dresses, shocking pink, and knitwear. Madeleine Vionnet mastered the manipulation of fabric and is credited for discovering the bias cut. Jean Patou designed swimwear and sportswear for women. Jean Lavigne found success when the wealthy wanted her to make replicas of the clothes she designed for her daughters, and later had a label as her namesake. And lastly, Coco Chanel, who is known for her jersey, knitwear, costume jewelry, cosmetics, and perfume. Chanel and her label will be the focus of the presentation. Chanel is the only fashion designer to be featured in Time's 100 Most Important People of the Century. She was born on August 19, 1883, in Saumur, France. When her mother died, her father abandoned Chanel and her two sisters. She was raised in an orphanage where she learned how to sew. She got the name Coco because she performed in cabarets. She loved parties and later became the mistress of Arthur Keppel, and he became a crucial part to the label and her life. Chanel created a fashion empire out of nothing. She revolutionized the way women dress. The day she wore Keppel's sweater on their vacation was the day she made history. Chanel is the epitome of the classic feminine chic. Though she died at the age of 89 on January 10, 1971, her label lives on through Karl Lagerfeld. In 1910, Chanel Modes opens, a hat shop that would serve as a jumpstart to the Chanel label and her career. During a vacation with Arthur, Chanel was seen wearing one of his sweaters and brought up a whole new style of women's wear. In 1913, she opens a boutique in DeVille and brings in a new style, sportswear. 1915 would be the year when Chanel opens her first couture house on 31 Rue Cabon in Paris, France. Not only is Chanel known for her feminine designs, she was also known for creating a new business, cosmetics, and especially perfume. In 1921, Chanel is the first designer to produce a fragrance with her namesake. Chanel No. 5 is the name of the iconic fragrance. This perfume is the start of several other fragrances with the name Chanel. Chanel No. 5 becomes so popular that many celebrities are known for wearing it. Marilyn Monroe is infamous for wearing her favorites.
Coco Chanel made quite a few contributions to fashion. For instance, in 1921, Chanel unveiled her very first fragrance called the iconic Chanel No. 5. Chanel also presented her first makeup collection in 1924, featuring lip colors and face powders. Not only she presented fragrances or makeup, she created the costume for the ballet Le Train Bleu in 1924. In that same year, on her frequent trips to Scotland, Gabrielle Chanel discovered the tweed, a traditionally masculine fabric which inspired her iconic women's suit. In 1925, Chanel launched her signature cardigan jacket. The very next year, in 1926, Chanel creates the iconic The Little Black Dress, a style whose daring simplicity revolutionizes fashion.
The evening dress was established in the 1926 through the 1930s. Fabrics that were used were sequins and lace, influenced by the evolution of metamorphosis. The features on the dress was lace, metallic sequin section, and rows to create fabulous patterns. The little black dress was first introduced in the 1920s and it went through the 1970s. The fabrics used often were wool, silk, and metals. Influenced by the rule of fashion and to create a staple piece, the features were no sleeves, short hems, and often used lighter fabrics.